The Dictionary of Real Estate Appraisal, Chapter R, continued, page 204. Right to use. C, leasehold interest and time sharing. Ring study. A trade area analysis tool that divides the area surrounding the subject property into concentric zones or rings. Ring studies analyze demographic and competitive characteristics. They do not recognize graphic barriers or traffic routes within the trade area. See also concentric zone theory. Riparian. Pertaining to the bank of a river or another body of water. Riparian lease. A lease on land situated between the high water mark and the low water mark. Riparian owner. The owner of riparian land who is ordinarily entitled to the benefits of riparian rights. Riparian rights. A water right that under common law grants a landowner the ownership of waters that share a border with the parcel owned or that flow across the land. Risk. The probability that foreseen events will not occur. Risk may be incurred as a result of the impact of general economic and market conditions upon the performance of the specific property, the interaction of a group of investments in a portfolio, or the operation of the real estate enterprise as an independent venture. Risk-adjusted discount rate. C, discount rate. Risk analysis. Quantitative methods used to assess risk by measuring the probability of various occurrences. Risk analysis examines the potential for change in market conditions and property performance, which can affect net operating income forecasts and value. See utility functions. Risk flag. In the use of Fannie Mae's collateral underwriter, an indication of specific areas of appraisal with heightened risk of quality issues, overvaluation of property, eligibility, or policy compliance violations. Risk management. Procedure to minimize the effects of a possible financial loss by, number 1, identifying potential sources of loss. Number 2, measuring the financial consequences of a loss occurring. And number 3, using controls to minimize actual losses or their financial consequences. Risk premium. In risk or security analysis, the return over and above the risk-free rate. Risk rate. The annual rate of return on capital that is commensurate with the risk assumed by the investor. The rate of interest or yield necessary to attract capital. See also safe rate. Risk score. An overall measure from 1, low, to 5, high, of a potential loan's riskiness, assigned in Fannie Mae's collateral underwriter through automated analysis of the data submitted in an appraisal. RL. C, land capitalization rate. Capital R over M. C, mortgage capitalization rate. Capital R over N. C, terminal capitalization rate. Capital R over O. C, overall capitalization rate. Road. In general, an open way for public transportation, usually paved and made flat. Roadside development. A residential, commercial, or industrial strip development that occupies the frontage properties abutting a highway leading from an urban community. Roll. C, tax roll. rollover. See lease rollover. Rollover mortgage. A mortgage in which the terms, including the interest rate, are reviewed and adjusted periodically according to contract. Technically, the outstanding principal balance is due on the renewal date, but lenders may extend the mortgage for a second renewal period, or even renew the entire amount of the mortgage at the going market rate. Usually only the interest rate is adjusted, and monthly payments are based on the remaining term for the following renewal period, also called renewable mortgage. Page 205. Roman law. System of law based on Roman legal tradition, which is the basis for most legal systems in continental Europe. Under Roman law, property rights are defined in terms of jus fruendi, jus untiendi, and jus abutendi, which means the right to enjoy, the right to use, and the right to consume. See also common law. Room count. A unit of comparison used primarily in residential appraisal. No national standard exists on what constitutes a room. The generally accepted method is to consider as separate rooms only those rooms that are effectively divided and to exclude bathrooms. Rooming house. A house where lodging is provided to paying guests. See also bed and breakfast and boarding house. Room night. In the lodging industry, a unit of demand that denotes one room occupied for one night by one or more individuals. Rotary interchange. An intersection of multiple highways in which traffic interchange for entrance and exit is controlled in a circular traffic flow. Roundabout. A traffic circle. Rounding. Expressing an amount as an approximate number. For instance, exact only to a specified decimal place or for a certain number of significant digits. An appraisal conclusion may be rounded to reflect the level of precision associated with the value opinion or the pattern of pricing evident in the market. Route. The established or directed course of travel between two spatially separate locations of or parcels of real estate. Route orientation. A route may be oriented inward toward the subject, outward from the subject, or dual directional. Route orientation may be crucial to the performance of certain types of properties. For example, a convenience grocery store may be located on a heavily traveled street so that people returning from work can stop to pick up needed items. Row stores. See strip development. Royalties and advertising fees. Ongoing payments to the franchise or to cover administrative and marketing costs, usually based on a percentage of gross or net sales. Royalty. Money paid to an owner of real estate or the owner of the mineral rights, if different than the owner of the real estate, for the right to deplete a natural resource. For instance, oil, gas, minerals, stone, builders, sand, and gravel timber, usually expressed as a portion of the revenue received for or price per unit of the resource extracted. See also overriding royalty. RPCs. See relative per capita sales. Rule of 72. A rule of thumb for calculating the number of years it will take for a deposit in a fixed interest bearing account to double. For instance, divide 72 by the rate of interest being paid on the deposit. Thus, if a time deposit is earning 8% annual interest, it will take about 9 years for the deposit to double. Running lines. Set boundary lines refer to the calls, natural objects that mark the boundary of the land conveyed in the grant, and field notes carried into the grant, or to the map or plan referred to in the conveyance. Rural, pertaining to the country as opposed to urban or suburban. Rural-urban boundary, traditional land on the periphery of an urban or suburban area, also called rural-urban fringe. Page 206. Rurban. I don't know how to pronounce that. Rurban. An area in transition from agricultural use to suburban, residential, and commercial development. An area with both rural and suburban characteristics that is within commuting distance of a city. Rurban, like rural, suburban. Rurban. R/U, rentable/usable ratio. A conversion factor applied to usable area that gives the basic rentable area of the office area, store area, or building common area. End of page.